The air in the kitchen felt like it had been sucked out, leaving a vacuum that pressed against my chest. My wife Ellen stood by the sink, her knuckles white as she gripped the edge of the counter, her eyes fixed on a single coffee mug, his mug, the one with the chipped handle that didn't belong to us. Her voice, low and trembling, had just sliced through the silence. "You're sleeping in the guest room until you apologize." My pulse roared in my ears, a deafening drumbeat, as I opened my mouth to respond. But the words caught like dry leaves in my throat. "Ellen, I started," but she turned, her gaze ablaze, and I knew this wasn't about forgetting to take out the trash. The mug sat there, mocking me, its ceramic surface glinting under the harsh fluorescent light. It wasn't ours. I'd never seen it before last week, when it appeared on the counter after Ellen's book club ran late again. I'd laughed it off then, told myself it was nothing, just a friend's quirky habit of bringing their own drinkware. But the way Ellen's shoulders stiffened when I asked about it, the way her laugh sounded like shattering glass, planted a seed of doubt that had since grown roots, twisting through my gut. I leaned against the fridge, the cold metal seeping through my shirt, grounding me as my mind spiraled. Had I missed something? The late nights, her phone angled just out of view. The way she'd started wearing that perfume again. The one she hadn't touched since our early days. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but fear glued my feet to the linoleum. What if I was wrong? What if I was paranoid, seeing ghosts where there were only shadows? But that mug. That damn mug. "Ellen," I said again, softer, testing the waters. "What am I apologizing for?" My voice cracked, betraying the dread pooling in my chest. She didn't look at me. Instead, she picked up the mug, her fingers trembling, and set it in the sink with a clink that echoed like a gunshot. "You know," she whispered, and the words were a punch to my ribs. I didn't know. Or maybe I did, and I was too scared to admit it. The house felt alive with secrets that night. Every creak of the floorboards a whisper of betrayal. I retreated to the guest room, the mattress stiff and unfamiliar, the air thick with the scent of lavender from a candle Ellen burned to cleanse the energy. Cleanse what? I lay there, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the past few months. The way she'd linger in the driveway after coming home, her car idling longer than necessary, the sudden interest in girls' nights, with friends I'd never met, the way her eyes darted away when I asked how her day was. Each memory was a breadcrumb, leading me somewhere I didn't want to go. By morning, the silence between us was a living thing, heavy and suffocating. I found her in the living room, curled up on the couch, her phone clutched in her hand like a lifeline. "Ellen," I said, my voice raw from a sleepless night. "Talk to me, please." She looked up, her eyes red-rimmed, and for a moment, I saw the woman I married, vulnerable, open mine. But then her jaw tightened and she said, "You think I'm the one who needs to explain?" Her words were a spark in a powder keg. "What's that supposed to mean?" I snapped, my voice louder than I intended. The room seemed to shrink, the walls closing in as she stood, her posture defiant. "You've been distant, Mark. Checked out. You think I don't notice? You think I don't feel it?" Her accusation stung, but it was the way she said it, sharp, rehearsed, that made my skin crawl. Was she deflecting? Or was I the one at fault, too wrapped up in work, in routine, to see her slipping away? I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe that this was about me, about us, about something we could fix. But then I saw it. A glint of silver on the coffee table. A keychain, small and heart-shaped, with initials that weren't ours, JT. My stomach lurched. "Whose is this?" I asked, holding it up, my hand shaking. Ellen's face drained of color, her lips parting as if to speak, but no sound came. The silence was louder than any confession. "Ellen," I said, my voice barely above a whisper now. "Who is JT?" She turned away, her shoulders hunching, and I knew. I knew before she said his name, before she admitted to the late-night texts, the work dinners that weren't about work, the moments she'd spent with someone else while I was here, trusting her. "James," she said finally, her voice breaking. "It's James." James. Her coworker. The one she'd mentioned in passing, always with a casual laugh, a dismissive wave. The one who'd been at our house for that barbecue last summer, his smile too easy, his hand lingering too long on her arm. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself I was enough. The room spun, the edges blurring as anger and grief collided in my chest. I wanted to yell, to break something, to erase the image of her with him. But all I could do was stand there, the keychain burning in my palm, its weight heavier than the ring on my finger. Why? I asked, the question tearing out of me. She cried then, sobs racking her body. But her apologies felt hollow, like words read from a script. I didn't sleep in the guest room that night. I left, the keychain still in my pocket, the mug still in the sink. I drove aimlessly, the city lights bleeding into streaks through my tears. I thought of confronting James, of demanding answers, but what would that solve? The betrayal was hers, not his. And yet, a part of me wondered if I'd pushed her away, if my silence, my absence, had driven her to someone else's arms. Hours later, I pulled over, my phone buzzing with her texts. I'm sorry. Please come home. We can fix this. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the reply button. But then I saw it, tucked in the passenger seat, a scarf soft and blue, one I'd never seen her wear. It smelled of cedar and musk, a scent that wasn't mine. My heart stopped as I realized she'd been in my car with him. The betrayal wasn't just in our home. It was everywhere. I didn't go home. I couldn't. Instead, I drove to the lake where we'd had our first date, where we'd promised forever under a sky full of stars. I stood there, the scarf in my hands, and let it fall into the water, watching it sink as my trust in her did the same. The stars were still there, but they felt colder now, distant, like her.